Hello, coolers. Welcome back to Viva Barca and welcome to the home of everything Barcelona, where we are going to be discussing on some latest stories. We start with national team manager of Holland, Louis van Gaal, who is reportedly unhappy with Frankie de Jong and Memphis Depay's game time this season at Barcelona. We are going to be discussing on that as we progress. Then secondly, talking about Ansu Fati, as it has been reported that the Barcelona prodigies camp have admitted that the player is going through difficult moments. We are also going to be discussing on that. So guys, as we get right into it, please do ensure to subscribe if you haven't, turn on the post bell notification to always stay notified whenever I post a new video. Consider liking the video and please watch it right up to the very end. Speaking ahead of the Netherlands UEFA Nations League assignments against Poland and Belgium, Orange manager Louis van Gaal has claimed that he is not entirely happy with the game time that Memphis Depay and Frankie de Jong are receiving at Barcelona. Both Depay and de Jong were subjects of intense transfer speculations over the summer. The former came close to joining Juventus only to see the move fall through, while the latter was constantly linked with the likes of Manchester United and Chelsea. While they ended up staying put at Spotify Camp Nou, neither Depay nor de Jong are regular starters in Xavi's scheme of things any longer. Indeed, Depay is behind Robert Lewandowski, Ousmane Dembele, Rafinha, Ansu Fati, and even potentially Ferran Torres in the pecking order. Meanwhile, de Jong is also a rotation option behind Gavi, Pedri, and Sergio Busquets. Despite the circumstances, the duo has shown fight and have been pushing for more minutes with their recent performances. And Louis van Gaal has now spoken about their situation at Barcelona, stating that he would be happier if Depay and de Jong would play more for Barcelona. He said, "It is true that many players called me in the transfer window, but I always ended every conversation with, 'This is my advice, but you make your own decision.' I am happy with the outcome, but I would be happier if Frankie and Memphis would play more than they are playing now," the ex-Barca boss said. Despite their reduced game time, Depay and de Jong remain mainstays in the Netherlands national team and of course will be the main protagonists in the Nations League and the FIFA World Cup that will start in Qatar in November. And Van Gaal will be hoping that by then the duo will be featuring more regularly at the club level so that they can arrive at the tournament in form and in rhythm. Of course, as a manager of a national team, you will always be worried why some of your players don't play regularly and everything like that. Of course, we can see that Memphis Depay and Frankie de Jong are not Xavi's main, how can I put it, they're not the first choice in their positions for Xavi, it's clear. But what those two bring to the team is quite astonishing. And maybe for Xavi, he thinks it's just the issue of squad depth, right? But normally rotation is also very good, necessary. For the last two games, Cadiz and Elche, those two have started in the lineup, which is a good thing. And I think they are doing well. Those two Dutch people are doing so well. And I don't know if they are trying to disprove Xavi that they should be starters, not just being bench warmers all the time. So let's see how it's going to look like for them this season. As Van Gaal have just opened up his mind saying that he's not happy for the fact that his two Dutch players at Barca are playing so less. They're not playing a lot. And he feels worried about that, knowing fully well that those two are the main players, the best two players in the Netherlands squad. It will be important that they play regularly for Barca so that when coming for the World Cup, which is a very big and important tournament for everyone, they are coming with sharpness, rhythm. The more you play, you feel so, you feel the way you're active. But when you are more on the bench, it is not really cool when it comes to your rhythm, the way you flow with games. And that's why some of these national team managers always like their players to feature more. And some of them hardly calls, even like players who always want the bench often, some national team managers don't call them, right? So Van Gaal is no different. He wants his two main protagonists to always play. He's not happy with game time that they have. But I think Xavi is doing fairly well. I don't see any issue because Xavi have been playing Frankie and Memphis Depay in the last two La Liga matches. They started the games and they are doing so well. Of course, that's the importance of squad depth, to show competition. Every single player wants to compete so that he might be He might convince the manager to be the starting lineup player, So that's a good thing about the squad depth. And I think Xavi is doing a good rotation so far. I don't see any partiality for the two Dutchmen, maybe not having game time, but I think they're doing well. Look at Memphis Depay. Memphis Depay against Elche was so good, so brilliant. Who played at the left side? Lewandowski played center. I mean, Memphis Depay did fairly good. Memphis Depay as well as Frankie De Jong in that match against Elche, they were brilliant. They were brilliant. So I think Xavi himself was so happy about the performance by the Dutch duo, and will always consider rotating them in matches. So there's nothing like there's a certain player who owns a starting berth in the lineup all the time. But Xavi also makes sure that because of fatigue issues and the congestion of fixtures, every single player have a chance. That's why if you look at our bench, we have one of the best bench, if not the best bench in La Liga. Then moving on to the next story of discussion. As things stand, Ansu Fati is undergoing a challenging spell in his relatively short career. For starters, the youngster has had to be patient with his playing time this season, with Xavi understandably easing him into proceedings off the bench. Why a start in Barcelona's latest 3-0 win against Elche seemed on the cards for the prolific winger, the wonder kid was reduced to coming off the bench due to feeling a slightly muscular discomfort before the game. With Fati's fitness woes still being a cause of concern and his game time being relatively low so far, the generational talent endured another blow when he discovered that Luis Enrique had excluded him from the Spain squad for the upcoming Nations League fixtures. As a result, it is no surprise to discover that those around Fati have stated that the player is going through very difficult moments, as reported by Colimania. Considering the much-awaited Qatar World Cup begins as soon as November, it would not be a surprise to discover that Ansu Fati is worried about whether he ends up making the grade. After all, the ideal way of changing Enrique's mind before he makes his final selections is by proving his worth on the pitch. However, that is easier said than done in the La Masia graduate's case, who is being eased in by Xavi, considering the player's alarming injury history. Of Barcelona's 8 matches across all competitions this season, Fati has started just one game so far in the UEFA Champions League against Victoria Pleasant, indicating how cautious Xavi has been with him. While the teenager is believed to be working on his strength and conditioning during the international break, there is no denying that he has a lot on his plate at the minute. And ultimately, every young player experiences peaks and troughs in their careers, and Ansu Fati is no different. And Barcelona fans will hope that he emerges from his difficult phase in a triumphant manner. So guys, with that we have come to an end of this episode. Thanks a lot for watching. Until next time, bye bye.